Hey, Tech Dev. How are you? Good to see you. It was a crazy day for me today, and so I didn't get my thumbnail up about my live until about an hour ago. So, hey, Jennifer, how are you? Um, so I don't know how well attended this might be tonight. I mean, I think everybody knows that I go live on Saturday, but I felt really bad about it. It's been a crazy Saturday for me. So, um, but we're here, and I'm going to talk about some things with Delphi. I'm going to touch a little bit on some stuff with Flora, and I'm going to introduce a little bit about what Unsolved Crimes is going to be going live tomorrow night. And so, hey, Unsolved, just talking about you. How are you? Oh, geez. It's okay, Jennifer. I totally understand. I hope you got to your destination safely, uh and that you're okay. Um I know that you're not here and that you're basically on vacay. So um Jennifer, while you're here, the one thing I did want to let you know, I have a Teespring store for merchandise now, and I would like to get that added to Nightbot at some point, and I'll shoot you the address on Discord. So whenever, it's not a big deal. So I know you would. Thank you so much. How are you guys? Did you guys have a good Friday? Sounds like Jennifer drove all day and all night. So it's just got my you see my logo, whoops, up there in the corner. Everything that I have will have that logo on it. I have a pillow. A hooded sweatshirt, some t-shirts, I think. Um, a couple of coffee mugs. Um, a tumbler, I think. Hey, Amy, how are you? It's good to see you. Um, this is one of my prized possessions. I just got it today. I am so proud of it. I love it. But this is my new tumbler, and it's got my logo on it. Can you guys see it? I love it. I mean, they did such a good job, and I just absolutely love it. So, yeah. I was so excited. So excited and to get it. And if any of you guys are interested, um I have a person on Etsy that's making those. So if anybody wants one, I can hook that up. But that one I had made special for me because I don't know, I just really liked it. So I'm real excited. I mean, I was like, at first I was like, I didn't know what the background of it should be, and she has so much to choose from, and I was like, oh, I really like the glitter look, the glittery kind of look to it. So anyway, I thought they did a fantastic job as well. Hey, Johnny R. Kramer, new kid in town. Good to have you here. Welcome. So, oh, hold on one second. I need to look something up. I apologize. As I said, I was late getting the ball rolling today, and I apologize immensely, you guys. But I'm looking for something here. Hold on. I don't remember this one, what I'm looking for. Give me just a minute. Yeah, that's the one I thought. It's not the one I was looking for. How are you guys? How are you tonight, Johnny? Okay, I think we'll do this one. I was going to share my screen so that we can do our missing person. I forgot it the other day. I felt bad about that. So for those of you that are new to my channel, I like to cover a missing person. And usually somebody that maybe somebody hasn't, obviously heard of. There's so many. This is Olivia Samantha Fowler. And she went missing August 13th of 2021 in Meriwether County, Georgia. This is her tattoo that's on her right arm is I love you. And then these are some photos of her. She was born on March 23rd, 1995. She has blonde hair. She has green eyes. She was 103 pounds, 5'2". She's very small in stature. She has ties to Meriwether County, Harris County, Talbot County, and Upson County, Georgia. The Atlanta Division of the FBI and the Meriwether County Sheriff's Office are seeking the public's assistance in locating Olivia. She's a mother of 3, and she was last seen on August 3rd, 2021, walking along Pebblebrook Road, the outside the town of Manchester in Meriwether County. She was last seen wearing a tie-dye shirt, shorts, and flip-flops, and her personal belongings were left behind. That sounds to me like she was probably kidnapped or somebody took her if she left her personal belongings behind. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. Most people don't leave their personal things behind if they go somewhere. So that's what all we really know about her. But I was hold on one second. I was going to look up one other thing on her real quick. Olivia. Oh. Olivia. Samantha. Oh my gosh. I can't not type anything. Sorry, you guys. I finally found what I was looking for. It's not normally this disorganized, and I apologize for it. My system now decides it's going to run slow for some reason, probably because I have all this stuff open, and I need to close it. Okay, that maybe will help. Let's hope so. And my StreamYard tab. Pull you out of there. There we go. Get you gone. Gosh. Sorry, guys, my system is just acting weird. I apologize. I'm trying to get some things open and closed so that my system stops running weird. So just bear with me. I didn't realize I had this stuff open in the background, and that's probably what's causing it to run weird during my live. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry. So the FBI is investigating how she vanished on this rural road. But the FBI does believe that something terrible has happened to her. And they say they're relieved to hear, or her mother and her sister believe that something terrible happened to her. And they are relieved to hear that the FBI is seriously now working on her case. And this was as May 27th of this year. Hey, Just Pam, good to see you. Olivia's older sister definitely believes that foul play is involved in this case. So they don't believe that she's alive anymore. Her mother and sister told Channel 2, Justin Wilfon, that they're worried someone could be holding her against her will, but there's no way that she would go off and leave her 3 children. She's somewhere she can't get to us, or she's somewhere she can't get to a phone. That's what her mother feels. I just feel that something is terribly wrong, or something bad has happened to her. And Channel 2 went to the rural road where she disappeared, and in Meriwether County, and they said that it's along Pebblebrook Road in Manchester, where a witness did spot Olivia walking, and then she seemingly just vanished. Somebody thinks that somebody picked her up, and whoever picked her up was not a good person. But the FBI is involved in the case now, and the family is thrilled about that. They said that that was a prayer answered. They do believe the FBI can help solve the case. And the FBI will not provide any information about their investigation at all. But the Meriwether County Sheriff's Office told Channel 2 that it remains an active and ongoing investigation, and that for now it is still classified as a missing person. Her mother said that she hopes in her heart, and she prays every single day, that nothing has happened to her and that she is no longer with us. Her family says she did hit some rough patches in life, but she was on her way to turning things around and doing well. and now they just want answers. So it's really sad. I mean, I just can't imagine my daughter just vanishing off of the face of the planet and leaving her 3 small children or her 3 children behind. I just don't think that those things happen. You know, I just for the most part, I just don't think moms walk away from their kids. It's just my opinion. But that's Olivia. So she's our person of this podcast or of this live stream. Man, I'm telling you, sometimes you just wonder about things. I'm going to get this back to where I had it. I did find something interesting that I'm going to share on Delphi. I found another article by Paul Holes that he did or talked. I mean, he was interviewed by the New York Post, and I just thought that this is about and he talks about serial killers, and he talks about, hey Mel, how are you? I hope you're well. Oh, Mel, you remember you told me about your Tumblr situation and you weren't happy? This is the one that I ended up with. I am so excited about it. This is my new Tumblr. I hope you can see it really well. I'm trying to, there's a glare on it, but I just love it. Hey, Pookie, how are you? I do too, Amy. I hope the family gets some answers. It'll be really nice if they do. But we're going to go over a article from the New York Post from Paul Holes. And for those of you who aren't familiar with who he is, Paul Holes is one of the detectives that helped solve the Golden State Killer case. He chased that man for years, trying to figure out who he was, and he just spent a lot of time. And hey, Michelle, you are here. Let's begin the show now. You're fine. Better late than never. Better late than never. Oh, good, Mel. I'm glad you're doing well. I hope you did get some good stuff out of what we went over. I hope it helps. And like I said, any questions or whatever, I'm here for you. So Paul Holes says there's approximately 2,000 serial killers on the loose, hunting fresh victims all across the country. And that's the word from California cold case ace Paul Holes, who nailed the notorious Golden State Killer Joseph James DeAngelo in 2016 after a 40-year manhunt. And he believes that many more like him are out there. He said that he's, and I'm quoting, I've seen statistics that some 2,000 serial killers are operating in the United States today, writes the acclaimed criminalist in Unmasked: My Life Solving America's Cold Cases. And it is a fantastic book, you guys. This is his book, and it's Unmasked: My Life Solving America's Cold Cases. I highly, highly recommend it. It is really, really a good read, and you will not be sorry if you get it. So he's on my crime. He's on my my bookshelf my crime bookshelf along with Ken Mains's Unsolved No More and Perry's House Secrets. So, Cold Truth, that's amazing. Mel, that's funny. I'm really glad. Very good. So you guys, just so you know, Cold Truth has a YouTube channel as well. She's part of the female content creators around Delphi, and please check out her channel if you have not. She's amazing. Her content is really good. She does a lot of different things, and you guys, I think, would really like her, enjoy her. And also, she now has what she's talking about is her buy me a coffee. You can buy her a banana, and I love it. I think it's so cool. So that's Cold Truth in the house, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, he said that his entire career was spent on the pursuit of James D'Angelo and or Joseph, I'm sorry, Joseph James D'Angelo. And in his book, he chronicles that and how he thanks Mel so much for joining. I so appreciate you. Thank you. And he said it's a rough estimate for sure, but it's absolutely a realistic figure. And he said that murderers go after the marginalized, particularly prostitutes, drug addicts, and the homeless. Relatively easy marks, as they tend to lose touch with their family and their friends and might have a history of disappearing for extended periods of time. And I think that we all know that follow true crime, we're aware of how these marginalized victims become victims because they're a marginalized portion of the population, and it's easy for them to be preyed upon and people not miss them right away because of what's going on in their lives. And it's really sad when you stop and think about it. He said that often these predators are preying on people whose lives are just spiraling down. So when they go missing, no one is really paying any attention to them. And he said killers are hiding behind the opioid crisis. The widespread use of heroin, oxycodone, and the fentanyl products that are out there provides the serial slayers with a smokescreen, Holes said. He said this allows them to choke or suffocate victims with less violence than would be needed to kill the fully conscious person. And he said to fool investigators who wrongly assume that drugs are to blame. And I think that happens a lot in cases. Stop and think about it. A person who's an addict shows up dead, and they immediately think it's probably due to an overdose or it's drug related. They owed someone money, or it was a drug deal gone bad, whatever. And a lot of times that is not the case at all. Just like Paul said, this person was preyed upon by a serial killer. And it has nothing at all to do with their drug addiction, except for the fact that it made them easier prey. If the manner of killing is a softer manual strangulation where the victim is intoxicated and barely conscious, it doesn't take much to kill them, he told the Post. So, that is really scary. And the creation of the FBI's Highway Serial Killings Initiative in 2009 underscores the pervasiveness of truck driving predators like Keith Jesperson, who's known as the happy face killer. Pathologists can write off these cases too fast. This is an OD, an overdose. They're not paying attention to a small bruise around the neck, especially if the investigator is saying, let's kiss this off and get back to the bona fide homicides. And that happens as well. If they see this person as throwaway and not really that much mattering, a lot of times that's the attitude towards sex workers, towards people who have the addiction issues in their lives. They don't want to spend that much time trying to get justice for them. They want to go back to what they consider real murders. And I just think that that is so bad, you know. Hey, Jennifer, thank you so much for your super sticker, my dear. That is so kind of you. I appreciate it very much. So, you know, I think we have to think about that when we think about all the crimes and all of the cases that we look at, as how quickly that can happen in some of these cases. Holmes pointed to the example of Samuel Little, who confessed to murdering 93 women between 1970 and 2012, making him the most prolific serial killer in the history of the United States. Some he killed were sex workers and drug users. He would strangle his victims and he commanded them to swallow. You could see he's doing this enough times to where they are unconscious, and the amount of physical evidence is very subtle. It makes it difficult for experts to determine exactly what happened. Hey, Tamara. Yes, Mel is the one who did the series on Anthony Greeno. She is most definitely that person. And the FBI, when they were trying to break some of the cases around Sam Little, they released the portraits that he had drawn of his victims. He would draw them, and hoping that the drawings would lead to cracking some of them open. People would recognize them. Hey, Michelle, thank you for your super sticker. Very nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And he said, Paul Holst says that they can work, a good number of serial killers are believed to be truckers, like the happy face killer, Keith Jesperson, long haul drivers who target prostitutes. They take advantage of being on the road for weeks at a time to hide their crimes. Plus, they're committing crimes in so many different jurisdictions that it makes it hard to catch them. And that's one of the things that we've got going on around the Flora Delphi situation with all of the fires, because we have these happening in different jurisdictions and different counties. They can work a circuit, Holst said. Picking up sex workers is something that has been seen over and over and over again. Hey, you need a ride. And the victim gets in the vehicle and they're gone. They're never seen again. The creation of the FBI's Highway Serial Killings Initiative underscores that pervasiveness, and it's a huge aspect, according to Paul Holst. Years ago, killers like D'Angelo, a terrifying menace who raped over 50 women and killed 13 and sometimes taunted his victims afterwards, didn't have to worry as much about disguising his whereabouts. Back in the day, you'd find them working in any type of community, though not necessarily living there. In the distribution of crimes, you might see a void area, so maybe that's where he lives, said Holes. So it's really funny because sometimes serial killers will kill in their comfort zone, which is close to where they live, such as BTK. He was killing his neighbors. So, I mean, he was really bold in that aspect. But a lot of times they go outside of that area and they target a different community. And Unsolved says, yes, Kristen, you are 100% right. This isn't the killer's first rodeo. Would make total sense if he had truck driving in his past. Yeah, it does make you wonder about Bridge Guy and what his job is or was. It's just kind of crazy. So in the 1970s, you had serial killers entering houses or picking up hitchhikers. It was very obvious that something had occurred. But as the society adjusted to public security threats, surveillance systems, for example, the predator tries to minimize the risk to himself. And so they're using technology to lure and isolate victims through things like online sex work now. And they're no longer just standing around in playgrounds waiting for victims to appear, which brings me to Delphi and the fact that we have social media involved. We've been told that social media is now involved. And was Bridge Guy just standing around on the trails waiting? Or was Bridge Guy aware of what was happening and the girls were lured there? Those are some of the biggest questions around the Delphi case right now. We all would love to know that answer. I think a lot of us have come to the conclusion that they were lured there simply because of the stuff that's been leaked about the Kagan, Klein, and Tony Klein situation. But we don't have facts of that. So I just thought that was, interesting. D'Angelo pounced on his victims while they were sleeping in their homes, shining flashlights into their faces so they couldn't see him. He wore gloves. He tied up and blindfolded his victims, typically couples. And he would carefully map out escape routes. And he was just a horrific and scary person. And he went 40 years before he was finally identified by Paul Holes as a suspect in a rape and killing spree that began in 1974. The crime fighter discovered him using advanced DNA mapping and a genealogy researcher, which we all know. And I think when you stop and think about what transpired between those two, because Parabon Nanolabs is the creation of said genealogy researcher, and she started when you listen to her talk about her life and how she got started in this whole crime scenario, mapping family trees of possible killers to help find killers. She was doing this as a housewife sitting on her couch. And I've heard so many people say across the Delphi community, especially, that nobody on social media will ever solve this crime. Well, I don't think, and for some reason my brain is help me out here, you guys. What's her name? Why am I not able to think of her name right now? I know Tech Death knows who I'm talking about. Um, I'm trying to figure out. Uh, do you guys know who I'm talking about? Hey, John. Hi, Mary. Um, I'm just looking at the chat, you guys. No, Tech Death. This is the person who started Parabon, was one of the people. Oh gosh, I can't believe I can't think of her name right now. I feel so bad about that. Um, hang on a second. There it is. Cece Moore. Thank you, Alyssa or Alicia. Thank you so much. I'm like, I don't know why her name just kind of escaped my brain. I feel bad. But yeah, Cece Moore talks about, she just was sitting on her couch doing genealogy. She was always interested in it. And that's how she started mapping this, and how she started figuring out how to look for relatives to go back into the genealogy and the family tree to catch these killers. And it's just amazing what she's been able to accomplish. And she helped catch the Golden State Killer with Paul Holes with this technology. And two recent cases have captured Paul Holes's interest and his attention. The Delphi slayings in Indiana, and Paul says that that's a serial predator, somebody who needs to be caught. And the Gilgo Beach murders on Long Island, an ongoing mystery involving sex workers and others who were strangled and dumped near the ocean. And I watched a really good documentary on them, and there are so many women that have been murdered and just disposed of in that stretch of highway, um, along there. That person needs to be caught. They have a real problem with a serial killer there. But I really thought it was interesting that he said Delphi was a serial predator. Um, and I think we need to listen to him. I really think we need to listen to him. I think most of those cases are related, said Holes, referring to Gilgo or Gilgo, however you pronounce that. And again, I say, please go out and get his book, Unmasked: My Life Solving America's Cold Cases. It's really worth it. He said serial killers often, as a group, they often blend in, leading ordinary lives in seemingly safe communities. So, again, everything that we know about Delphi and Bridge Guy, has been told to us by law enforcement is that this guy is blending in. He is hiding in plain sight. Nobody knows it's him. And he's just gone on with his life. And he's probably sitting back watching the news or watching the coverage whenever it's on about the crimes, reliving them and thinking, gotcha, guys, you won't catch me. He really thinks that they are not going to catch him. And I think that once we get the familial genealogy going on a lot of these cases, they will get solved. Most, he said, are loners and outcasts. They can and do function as your friendly next door neighbor, but they know that what they are doing is very twisted and sick. So they can stop for periods of time, but their urge to kill is stronger than the fear of getting caught. So that's why they continue to kill. Let's see. So he wrote this, or he did this article in the New York Post in April of this year. So it's pretty recent, and it's after everything came out about the Anthony Shot stuff. Hey, Danger Dave, how are you? And it's hard not to just, I mean, in my opinion, you can't dispel what these experts are saying. This man has years and years of experience in these crimes and with these types of killers, and far more experience than what any of us have, right? So we have to listen to them. You can't just dispel that away. Allie Unsolved and I were talking earlier about how these cases and how people don't realize that one of the things that killers will do to make it difficult to catch them, and especially if they're the serial type of offender, whether it be burglaries or whether it be rapes or whether it's murders or arson, they're going to commit multiple acts in multiple jurisdictions. They're going to even sometimes cross state lines because that makes it much more difficult to catch them. And it's one of the things that I don't understand about Delphi and why more people won't entertain the idea that some of these cases could be the same guy. What if this person has escalated and maybe was getting sick and tired of certain press coverage or whatever and said, well, you know what? I'll show them, and ups and commits a double murder in broad daylight. Those are all things that are possible. It's to me, it's quite oops. It's to me, it's quite obvious, and I don't think that you can just look away from it, but I know a lot of people do. So I just thought that that was something that was worth, discussing, talking about, whatever. And I always like to hear what Paul Holes has to say because I really respect him. I think he's an absolute excellent expert on cold cases, and cases just in general, but especially cold cases, because he worked his entire career to catch that man. And he did an amazing job, even though it took so long. Again, um, uh, D'Angelo is a perfect example of an offender who committed crimes all over the place. I mean, he was up and down different jurisdictions in California. And when the heat would start to get hot in one area, then he would move out of that county and go somewhere else. And that, these killers aren't stupid. They're not completely ignorant. And a lot of times they're very intelligent and have high intelligence even. So it's not uncommon for them to elude captivity. So one of the things that I was putting together when I was thinking about the call or the live tonight, I wanted to ask some questions and see what you guys thought about these, because I just thought we would have a discussion tonight. Really, not really specific topics, but just a discussion. Um, we know in Delphi that the police were collecting cell phone data early on to find out who was at the bridge, who was there, who was in that vicinity that day, and they wanted to match the cell phone history with all the people. And my big question is, one of the things I'd like to know the answer to is, what cell phone data were they not able to match with someone? Did they have cell phone data that they were never able to match to anyone? Because if they do, that could more than likely be pointing them to Bridge Guy as well. And I am sure that they've thought of that. So that's something. The GPS data, the same thing. How much of it were they able to match? Another thing that is I always have found interesting, and I wanted to talk about. Hey, Savannah, good to see you. How are you, my dear? Was that the Snapchat video of Abby was uploaded at 2:07, right? We're all in agreement of that. 6 minutes later, guys, 6 minutes later, Bridge Guy appears on that bridge because they have the timestamp of the audio and the video, and they know when he's talking to them and when he appears, when Libby starts to record. 6 minutes. Now, that's a really long bridge. And we know that the girls were not even in the center of the bridge yet. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, they see him coming. They turn and go to the, they continue to walk towards the southeast side of the bridge. And then he's coming towards them. And then we know what law enforcement has said to us as far as what's on the tape. He says down the hill to them, gives them the directive. But what I'm trying to point out, or what I'm trying to say, is 6 minutes is not a very long time. And for people to think that the Snapchat video, when it was uploaded, alerted someone to get to the bridge or get to wherever they're here, is not going to work, because he was already there. He already knew they were going to be there, because 6 minutes isn't a long time. And there he is. So does that mean that he found out they were going to be there some other way? Sure. Does it mean that he was there trolling and looking for victims? It's very possible that that's true, but I doubt it because it's just not the place. You don't have that many people just hanging out there like that. It's just not going to happen in Delphi, Indiana, USA. It's just not. So, and that's kind of how I feel about that. I also think that it's possible that he may have been out on the trails when Libby and Abby were geocaching, and that he saw them then and realized that they come to the trails and all of that, and that he could have used that as a way to figure out that they were going to be there as well. There's a lot of different ways that he could have ended up at those trails that day. And it's very possible, if what we've heard from family, that, the girls made the comment, is that creepy guy still behind us, that they passed him along the trail at some point, or he was sitting on a bench somewhere and they passed him and saw him, and for whatever reason he creeped them out. And then when they appeared on the bridge, there he was 6 minutes later. So those are some things that I thought were, worth talking about. I think the timeline is absolutely key to any case and anything that you're talking about when it comes to law enforcement trying to determine who did what. You cannot do good investigatory work if you do not have a solid timeline. And one of the things that I've maintained throughout all of this on this case is that we do not have a solid timeline. We do not have a solid timeline that has been provided to us by law enforcement. And I think that that's important. And for us to go further and trying to figure out things without that timeline, it's going to be really hard for us to get every single thing we need and to not miss something. I think there's a lot, and I agree with Unsolved. I think there's so many coincidences and connections that it's not coincidental anymore. There are things that we have to look at and ask ourselves what's going on. And like I said before, that doesn't necessarily mean in my mind that we have the guy committing it's the same killer for all these crimes. But what I'm saying is we have a lot of individuals that are the same players in all of these cases. And I just think that when people are out there screaming that the cases are not connected, that's a red flag. And Michelle, it's absolutely possible, very possible, even though they've discounted it and law enforcement has said no, that it's not, they're not connected. There's so much about the Kleins that we do not know. And I think one of the things that's funny is my mom always said, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. She always told me that. My grandmother did too. And I think you got to be careful about doing that in this case, about putting all your eggs in one basket. And right now, a lot of people are wanting to put all their eggs on the Kleins. And that doesn't mean that we don't stop looking at them, because we know that law enforcement's looking at them to some degree. Now we do. But when they put out the Anthony Schatz information, they didn't put out Kagan Klein. They didn't say, hey, everyone, we've arrested this guy. We have him in custody And he, we need more information on him. We need you, anyone who's had contact with Kagan Klein, to contact us. That's not what they did at all. Absolutely not. They put out Anthony shots. And who had contact with Anthony shots, which makes me believe, the more I look back on this, is that somebody was using the Anthony shots profile and it wasn't Kagan. And the reason I believe that is because he has been in jail since August of 2020. And if he was guilty of the Delphi murders, they would have arrested him by now. They have enough information on him, in my opinion. So I don't think so. I think they're looking, I think they think that he knows them. I think they think he knows Bridge Guy, whether either directly or indirectly. And that's what they're trying to get. They need to get that from him. And that's where he comes into play. But and just like I said, I just feel that they've got so many things that there's just so many things that just, to me, don't add up to them anymore, in my opinion. I think a lot of people have pressed that and pushed that because they so badly wanted it to be that. And law enforcement has never told us that. In fact, law enforcement told us the opposite. If you look at the Kagan Klein interview and investigation done by David Vito when they interrogate him, they absolutely tell Kagan, we know you were not Bridge Guy. We know you did not commit this crime. And I just don't see them telling him that if that wasn't the truth. And so it's definitely not Kagan, but I definitely think he knows or indirectly knows. And Michelle, I don't think it's friend one. Absolutely do not think that. I do think that someone may have wanted it to look like it might have been an associate. Again, I think that this killer is very organized and smart, and it's very possible that this person wanted it to look like them. And especially if they were an acquaintance or if they were someone who knew them and knew that they were into this whole talking to girls online and trying to, get photographs of them. And, they're sharing all this on their Dropbox with people. And that they're not doing this alone. That they're just not doing this by themselves. They're in chat rooms, they're in social media groups where this is going on. So other people know that these men are doing this. And it could be somebody like that. And in happenstance, in passing, they accidentally reveal some of the information about Abby and Libby. And if they did that unknowingly or unwittingly, then there you go. So I just think we have to keep an open mind and not put all of our eggs in one basket. The fact that the Kleins were raided 10 days after the murders of Abby and Libby is definitely something to question. And if they were raided and they found, like everyone has talked about, they found all of this CSAM, why were they not arrested? Why weren't they arrested on those charges? That is a huge, huge question and a huge red flag. They left this man out who they knew were predators preying on young girls, and they just left him be. That does not sit well with me and never has. The Vegas trip is very concerning to me. It always has been. when it comes to the Kleins, simply because of the searches that were going on. They were looking at how to destroy crime scenes. They were looking at how long DNA lasts on a body. They were searching Bridge Guy's voice, the audio over and over and over again. They were, I just think they were doing a lot of strange things, which leads me again to believe that they know who it is. And like I said, we don't know about the drugs and the stuff that they were all involved in as well. And all of that goes hand in hand. So we have to look at that. So it's going to be interesting to see. I definitely believe that they have a connection. I am not at all saying that they don't. I definitely believe they do. But I've really come to the realization in my head that I do not believe that either one of them is Bridge Guy. So I just don't. I don't. I just don't feel that anymore. I guess because I've learned too many things about what's going on in the counties around. And so I've just learned too much. And that's, I think, why I'm feeling the way I am. But you know, we've heard about the damage that was done to the bodies. That was in the Ron Logan affidavit, and it talks about, how bloody of a crime scene and brutal the murders were. And to me, that's overkill. And that's something that has to be looked at as well. And a lot of times with overkill, and I hate to say this, it's personal. There's just so many things that we have to look at, and was that part of the staging? Yeah, Alicia, I definitely agree with you 100% on what you just said. Totally agree with that. Absolutely. Totally believe that. I do. And the documents were not released, for one. Law enforcement, I did my video last week. I did one of my lives last week and talked about that. Law enforcement came out and said they did not release those documents. They were not released. It was done accidentally. They did not want that information out. So that I believe. I can't imagine anybody doing that, because in all honesty, in all honesty, when you look back at what law enforcement does when they're looking at this kind of a case, the documents that have been put out there, I firmly believe that interrogation of Kagan will most likely not be allowed to be used in the court of law. I just didn't, I just don't think so. And I think there's a lot of reasons. He asked for a lawyer during the interrogation, and they never gave him one. In fact, they talked him out of needing one. And I think that will be looked at, and they won't allow it in. But I just don't believe that they ever wanted that out. And it's sad that it has been put out there. I mean, we're left with with what's happened. But, and you know what, guys? I could be completely wrong. It's just my feeling, my gut feeling on it. So, and these are just things, like I said, that I just wanted to kind of talk about. And I've never publicly named anyone as a POI. I never will publicly tell you who I think or don't think did this crime. I don't feel that I have enough information to do that. So I'm sticking with that stance. I just give my opinion on how I'm feeling. And I just think because of a lot of the research and the things that I'm learning about what's going on around these fires in Flora, in Lafayette, in Monticello, the so-called suicide of Nate Miller. There's something going on, you guys. There's just something going on. And I just don't feel as comfortable, because I was like everybody else, when we all heard about what was going on with the Kleins and everything. And I definitely still feel that we're going to find out that, yeah, they've got some kind of involvement, but it's never been said. And here we are. They've had Kagan in custody since 2020, and they still have not charged them with anything regarding Delphi. And it makes you wonder what's going on with that. And the longer it goes, it does make you wonder. That doesn't mean that it's not them, because they could be, like we said, building the case against them. But it's one of those cases that they definitely are going to get hung on the CSAM. They're definitely going to get hung on that. Kagan is probably going to do some time for all of that at some point, if he ever gets to go to, to trial. And he'll probably most definitely get convicted because he's admitted to doing some of that stuff. What will happen with his dad? I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen with Tony. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So just, Alicia, all you have to do is Google Nate Miller Delphi and you'll find everything you want to know on it. One of the other things that I was wondering, and I've always wondered this, is how well did they search the creek for evidence? You got to stop and think about it. When Meow Zedong was on the other night in my live with Allie from Unsolved, we were talking about the flow of the creek and how important that information is, because nobody was really talking about it. We've had so many people talk about what the height of the creek was that day. We've heard anything from ankle deep to knee deep to chest deep. And it's just like crazy. Well, Meow went out and found it. She found all of the information. It was 3.8 feet deep, and it was 700 cubic feet per minute or per second is how fast it was going. I mean, it was really moving. So it was very fast moving water. And I know somebody made the comment that you could see that when RTV6 was flying over, but I didn't know if the white caps that we were seeing on the water was from the rotor blades of the helicopter. So you can't really tell that. But just by those numbers that she was able to find tells us that that was a fast moving body of water. So how easy is it to search something like that? We saw the searchers in the creek, they were arm in arm, length apart. It's really, really interesting, you guys. To me, that plays huge, because again, it explains a lot about what may or may not have happened. I mean, there's just so much, Um, there was a oh, what was it? Yeah, the SD, that's part of what I heard as well. Because if they're bringing another detective so that they can free up detectives so they can work on other things, that just sounds to me like they're not doing anything. I don't get it. I don't understand what's happening there. Um, so I just wondered what you guys' thoughts were about that because um I've often wondered how well they searched the creek. Um, could there still be evidence in the creek that was, I mean, obviously, probably not after all this time, depending on what it was. It'd be so covered in silt, the bottom dirt stuff because the sandbar that you see in the middle of the creek, that sandbar moves based upon the runoff from the cornfields. And so it's not always there. It's not always in the same place. That's one of the things that I read about it. And with all of that, if there is evidence in the creek, it could be buried under all of that silt. And obviously, the bed of the creek is really slippery rocks. Um, it's got algae that grows on them and makes them extremely slippery. It's that water algae that you get. If any of you guys have ever had an outdoor swimming pool that you didn't take care of and you just left it sitting, and then tried to get in it, you slip and fall because if you touch the bottom because it's so slick, it's that it's that algae stuff that grows in water that causes that. And that's what's on those rocks on the bottom of the bed of the creek. And it's extremely slippery. Um, so I and thinking of all that, it wouldn't have been easy to get across that creek that day. Um, I think the motivation of this killer is key. I think we need to know what motivated this killer to commit this crime. Um, Sometimes law enforcement fails to ask the right questions of witnesses, and that in itself can absolutely detour a case off the rails. Um, and I talked about this before on other lives, but people have secret lives. It is not unheard of. People have a public persona, people have a private one that they put on um, privately, amongst family, friends, whatever. And then people have secret ones. And this guy has a secret persona or a secret life that no one knows about. And that's how a lot of these killers hide in plain sight because they can fit in so well because nobody knows what's going on after dark, so to speak. Um, Hi, Blind Squirrel. So Blind Squirrel said the last thing the Kleins would want to see is that Abby and Libby murdered. Kagan Klein knew the moment he made contact with Libby via the Anthony Shots profile, Kagan knew the phone data could be traced to him. Exactly. You would not think if these people were catfishing these girls to get photos and nude photos out of them that they would want um, to be the ones to commit this crime because they knew it could be traced back to them. I mean, it could definitely be traced back to them. What did Yes, it is. The Anthony Shots car pic that says Vroom was taken in Flora. Yes. Soon after that pic came up, there was a bunch of online sleuths that found that house that he was out in front of. And yeah, he was in Flora for sure. So, and when I was talking about the creek, I was wondering if they ever took in guys with metal detectors or underground sonar kind of stuff, equipment, if they have underground sonar that can be used in the water for the bed of the creek, because to me that would be extremely useful to find other possible evidence. But, that's just me. We also do not know, and there is no facts that there is any sexual motivation or sexual activity, I should say, at this crime scene. Law enforcement has never told us that, so we can't just talk about that, in my opinion, and say, well, there was this sexual activity at the crime scene, because we don't know that for sure. I don't know that we ever will know for sure about that. Maybe Michelle can talk to that a little bit better, but I think that there's always a chance that the autopsies will remain sealed in this case, and that stuff will never come out to the light of day. So they treat some of these cases like they're very careful in what they release, especially on children that have been murdered. But with that being said, different jurisdictions handle things differently, because obviously they told us everything about John Bonet. So, so that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about on the whole on Delphi. As far as Flora goes, I still believe that the corruption that's going on in Flora is significant. And I just say that because there's just so many questions about people in high places within that town that just did some really strange things, and some of the stuff that they've done since, and some of the players and how they tried to keep things under the rug and hush hush. And is it because of the money? Everybody always says follow the money, because you follow the money and you're going to figure out something. And the one thing that we have to remember is there's a lot of money coming into both of these cases. Carroll County's getting a ton of money to help solve these cases from the state and possibly even federally. And there's just a lot of money there. Is that enough for somebody who's corrupt in government to say we don't want these cases to get solved? Because if we can bleed them for 10 years, look at all the money that we can bring into our county. I mean, I hate to say that, because who wants to believe that people don't want the murders of 6 little girls, 6 little girls to be solved? Oh, Pam, thank you so much. You are awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you too. And you are very welcome. I hope I make a difference, because I really, really try to. Hey, wife Lilith, yes, that vroom picture is in front of a house in Flora. So there you go. You've got Anthony Schatz in a car in Flora. Somebody asked the other night, does Kagan Klein drive? So is Kagan the one in the car? Is somebody else the one in the car? Where did that picture come from? because we know it was taken in Flora. That to me is a huge question. Was it friend 1? Was it friend 2? You know, what is it? There's just a lot, right? You guys, Unsolved Crime Uncovered is going live tonight or tomorrow night for the first time. And so I want everybody to be aware of that and make sure that we all show her a lot of love and go over to her channel. Allie, what time are you going to be live tomorrow night? And it's Eastern time. What time is it? Did you say 10 o'clock? I think you said 10 o'clock Eastern time. Gonna show off my mug or my tumbler. Isn't it awesome? I love it so much, you guys. It is so cool. It's so cool. So excited. So yeah, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when she'll be live, you guys. So make sure that you mark that down and head on over, because I guarantee you it'll be worth listening to. She's going to talk about some of the corruption in Flora and some of the issues in the Lafayette fire. And she's also going to talk about Stephanie Thompson and Nate Miller. So those are some of the things. Oh, Michelle, I can put you on to where you can purchase one. I love it. I was so absolutely thrilled to find it and to get it and to get mine made special for me, because I just did. I wanted one so bad, and I was so particular. So, but yeah, the link for my merchandise is coming soon. So you guys will be able to order some of my merch, I hope. Cool. Woodland Star. That's awesome. I've got a couple coffee mugs. So, that'll be good. But I really wanted to put that out there about Allie, because she's working so hard on this case, you guys, and she's working so diligently for Flora and for Delphi, trying to figure some things out. And it really takes a lot to do that. And, you know, we're all in this together. We all really want it solved. And I just think that sometimes what happens is that, oh, good, Ellie, I can't wait. I don't know. There's just a lot of speculation around this case and around these cases. And none of us are right. None of us know. Again, it's what we think we know. Law enforcement has put out so much. And I always think it's good to have a discussion at times about things we've heard or things that have been going on, whatever, and try to work those out. You guys know that I will never really steer too far away from fact-based anything, because to me that doesn't do us any good. And that's not what I'm here for. I don't want to become one of those channels that does that. I just don't. And You know, it's funny, Jack, that you put that figure out there. ISP's got a $585 million budget, and that's for the state police, you guys. And they are 48th in the country in the solvability rate of their murders. So I would have to agree with Jack. What the heck is the $585 million for? Because it doesn't seem like it's going very well. You know, and it is easy to go to crazy town with this case. And you know, it's there are so many rabbit holes, and we've all been down them, me included. I'm not, you know, I've done it as well. And um you know, you just wonder to yourself, how can this get any crazier? I'm afraid to even ask that question on a daily basis. And Kennedy Phillips says, if the cases are found to be linked when solved, would the reward money amount between the cases be combined when awarded? I would think so. If a person comes forward with information that can solve both cases, then yes, I would think that they would link those reward funds and the person would get both. It's just, you know, I think we've all been praying that there's no more murders. And that's the other thing that leads me to speculate that this may not be a serial killer, because if it isn't, what's he doing? But if it is a serial killer and he's committing other types of murder and not just the murder, like he's doing arson or he's doing something else, then it's very possible that that could be happening. We don't know. We just don't know. And we don't know enough. And I just think it's very weird that you have 6 little girls dead within 3 months of each other. 2.5 months, basically, within 2.5 months of each other, 9 miles apart. One is arson and one is outright murder. Viciously attacked murder. So, and I agree with you. I think that the killer or killers love the fact that this case has our heads spinning amok and has us going from one thing to another. I get asked a lot about energy around the case, how I'm feeling about it, and sometimes this or sometimes that. And I will tell you that this case can take a lot out of you. It can drain you. There's times when you have to step back and you have to take a break and do something else, talk about something else, you know, do something else, step away completely from YouTube for a while. And I've got friends right now that are doing that because they are just absolutely drained because of everything that's been going on. And you just have to for your mental health. So I appreciate you guys all coming by. We are starting next week. We are going to have some new stuff happening because I'm going to start covering some different cases, and we're going to get off of I'm still going to do a Flora show. I'm still going to do a Delphi show, and then another show will be a different case or something else completely different. Because I just think we need that. And I want to try to keep things exciting on the channel to where we're not just beating a dead horse. It's hard to find topics to talk about when the cases aren't moving very much. And that can be the difficult thing. And I don't want to get people's ideas that I'm just sitting here every night talking about nothing so that I can get views. I think you guys know me well enough that that's not me. That's not what I'm trying to do. I always try to educate you guys on something. I always try to bring something to the live stream for educational purposes. So, um, but that's what's going to happen next week. And I do believe one day next week, I think it's Thursday, possibly, that there might be some excitement on another live stream. I may be a guest, you guys, on another live stream next week. So I'm excited about that. I've never been a guest on anyone's channel before. So I'm excited. That's a first for me. And so that I think that's in the works. And I think that that's going to be happening. So look forward to that. And so now I want to go ahead and do my drawing. So just a minute, because I closed my I closed my drawing. Let me get it up here again. StreamYard. No. Where are you? Giveaway tool. There it is. Found it. I had it hidden under like 15 other tabs. So it was like, oh, it went away. All right, let me fill this out real quick because we're going to have a drawing. Oops. Got to get it open so it'll find my broadcast. There it is. I'm going to have everybody put hashtag and then the word justice in the chat if you want to be entered in the drawing. And tonight the drawing is for another it's for a bracelet, an Abby and Libby bracelet. So if you want to be entered in it, in the chat, drop hashtag justice. Perfect, Mary. Perfect, perfect. Perfect, you guys. Everybody's able to enter. So get those in, and once we have them all, then we'll have our drawing. So, and once you win, you'll need to email me your information so I can get it mailed out to you. And I'm in the process right now. I'm waiting. I should have on Monday my mailers, because I'm waiting for mailers to mail my stuff to you guys. Because, hey, Sleuth, good to see you. Because I will have some other prizes for my drawing. So it's always so much fun. I kind of like it. When I took my week of StreamYard training, which was free, by the way, we had a drawing like this every single day. And then they had a big one on the last day. And it was so much fun because there was a lot of us in there. So it was kind of cool to see. I've only got 16 drawers so far. Anybody else want to jump into the drawing for an Abby and Libby bracelet? One of these. Hashtag justice. Hashtag justice. That's what you need to put in the chat. And once you do that, I'll give you guys a little bit more time, and then we'll do our drawing. Make sure you guys subscribe and like to my channel, and hit the bell, the notification bell, so that you get notified whenever I go live. Pam, just Pam, that's not right. It's #justice. Oh, she goes, a new car. Never mind. I saw it. Jennifer is always trying to make our day. Yeah, one of these days you guys are going to get a Matchbox car. I'm going to get you one of those. A brand new car. I wish you guys, I wish I had the means of Oprah so I could give you guys cars. That would be really cool. I bet my channel might grow really fast if I was giving away cars. Wouldn't that be a hoot? We'd really get eyes on Flora then, wouldn't we? It's like we'd really have people paying attention. Yep. Oh, Sleuth, so did my little boy. He had the best collection of Matchbox cars, and he loved them. He carried them around in a bag, a big baggie, a big Ziploc baggie. And yeah, he loved them. They have since been passed down to his nephews, and they love them too. So that's the nice thing about them. They last if you take care of them. Those little things last, and it's just fun to see the boys and the girls play with them. They just love them. Hours and hours of time. So I got 19 entries. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Sleuth. I love Batman, so anything with the Batmobile makes me happy. Yeah, Jennifer, I think you're right. I think he is too. That's cool, Mike. I think every little boy really did like them. They're so much fun. There's so many things you can play with them with. All right, guys, I got 19 entries. I'm giving you one more minute, and then I'm going to do my drawing. Oh, really, Jennifer? My robot's R2D2. My robot vacuum is R2D2 because I'm also a Star Wars fanatic. So, but the old Star Wars. I don't really like the new stuff too much. I'm a old school girl. Okay, guys, here we go. We're going to draw. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen, you guys. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Put it back up there where it belongs. Here we go. And the winner is Suzanne Thompson. Come on down. Congratulations, Suzanne. If you email me your information, I will get that mailed out to you right away. That's awesome. I'm really excited. I'm excited for her. So cool. I hope she's still in here. Are you still in here, Suzanne? If you're still in here, please acknowledge. Because if she's not, guys, I'll do another drawing. Hang on, Sleuth. Gee, we'll see. I still may do another drawing, so just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Keep an eye out for her, please. I'm going to draw again. So cool to watch it do it. Oh, I'm so excited for her. Oh my God, she's going to laugh. Alicia's going to laugh. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to do 2 drawings, so I'm going to give away 2 of them. I have plenty. Alicia. Hey, Suzanne. Good girl. So all you have to do is, Michelle, if you will drop my email down in the chat, so everybody has my email address, and you can, yeah, and just look in the chat, Suzanne. They just dropped the link for my email, and Alicia, you already have my email address, so. But yeah, that's so much fun. I love that. And like I said, the prizes will get different. I'm going to try different things. It won't always be this. There'll be other things that I do as well. And yeah, I just think it's fun. It's just a nice little thing to show that how much I appreciate you guys, and that I'm glad you're here every day. So thank you guys so much. Yes, cars are coming. I'm going to pick them out, I promise. And I will have some of those as well. But yeah, you guys take it easy. I will see you all on Tuesday night. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I enjoyed so much spending time with you tonight. And as always, it's fun when you join me behind the crime door, where nothing is ever as it seems. Good night, everyone.